I'm 73 years old, and I spent 48 years of my life learning a truth that nobody wants to hear.
48 years. That's close to half a century, chasing something that didn't matter.
Believing a lie that society feeds you from birth, sacrificing everything for a goal that turned out to be completely empty.
Here's what nobody tells you about success, about achievement, about making it to the top. The people who've climbed the highest ladders are often the loneliest people alive. And I say this as someone who made it. I had the corner office, the respect of my colleagues, the house that impressed the neighbors. Everything you're supposed to want. Everything you're told will make you happy. But at 52, something happened that shattered every assumption I built my life on. One moment changed 48 years of certainty into 48 years of regret. And what I'm about to share might upset you. But you still have time to avoid what I couldn't. It was a Tuesday morning in March, 3 weeks after my 52nd birthday. I was in a partners meeting on the 23rd floor, reviewing quarterly projections when the room started tilting. Not spinning tilting, like the whole building was about to collapse sideways. I remember thinking, absurdly, that I needed to finish my presentation before anyone noticed something was wrong. The next thing I remember is waking up in a hospital bed with tubes coming out of both arms, and my wife sitting in the corner, mascara streaked down her face. The doctors called it a cardiac event. My heart function had dropped to 30%. They said I was lucky. I just had my body try to kill me, and they called it luck. But here's the thing, lying in that hospital bed at 3 in the morning, unable to sleep, hooked up to machines that beeped every time my broken heart took a beat, I realized something terrifying. The cardiac event wasn't the real heart attack. The real heart attack was the revelation that followed. What I discovered in those 72 hours of forced stillness changed everything about how I see life, death, and what actually matters when you're facing the end. Leave a comment if you've ever had a moment that changed everything. You're not alone. For 48 years, I believed a specific lie, and chances are you believe it too. The lie goes like this: success equals happiness. Achievement equals fulfillment. Climbing the ladder equals living a meaningful life. Work hard, make money, gain respect, accumulate achievements, and somehow magically you'll be satisfied. I bought that lie completely. I graduated top of my class, made partner at 38, built a reputation as someone who got results. Every promotion felt like validation. Every deal closed felt like progress. Every award on my wall felt like proof that I was doing life correctly. But at 52, lying in that hospital bed, I had to confront a devastating truth. I've been winning at the wrong game for half a century. Success is a terrible goal. And I mean that literally. Success, society defines it. It is one of the worst things you can pursue because it tricks you into sacrificing what actually matters for what looks impressive to strangers. Think about that. I spent 48 years impressing people I didn't even like. Colleagues whose names I can barely remember now. Clients who've long since moved on. Competitors who never thought about me as much as I thought about them. I gave them 48 years of my life. 48 years of mornings I left early and evenings I came home late. 48 years of weekends at the office and vacations with my laptop. I had a friend, let's call him David. We started at the firm the same year. He was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. While I was climbing, he was sprinting. Made senior partner at 41. Built a practice that brought in millions. The kind of guy who got written about in industry magazines. David died at 64. Heart attack in his home office on a Sunday afternoon. His funeral was packed 300 people, standing room only. His son gave the eulogy. I'll never forget what he said. He stood at that podium, looked out at all of us successful people in our successful suits, and said, "My father was a very successful man." But I barely knew him. The room went silent. You could feel 300 people holding their breath. Then he continued, "I can tell you about his biggest deals, his most impressive achievements, the awards on his wall. But I can't tell you what made him laugh, what he was afraid of, what he dreamed about when he couldn't sleep, because he never shared those things with me. He was too busy being successful. That eulogy destroyed me more than David's death itself. Because I looked around that funeral and realized I was David. I'd become exactly what killed him. My own son was 17 at the time. 17 years of his life. And how many of those had I actually been present for? Not physically present, emotionally present. How many soccer games had I attended but spent on my phone? How many dinners had I shared but spent thinking about work? Have you ever felt this? Comment below. What's the one thing you're sacrificing right now that you know you'll regret later? Just one thing. Write it down. Maybe seeing it in words will wake you up faster than it took me to wake up. The trip to Japan my wife wanted to take postponed 22 years. Always next year. The relationship with my younger brother that I let deteriorate because I was too busy to drive 3 hours to visit him. The book I always wanted to write but never started because work came first. These aren't hypothetical regrets. These are the specific, concrete costs of chasing success for 48 years. 3 days after my cardiac event, my wife visited during afternoon hours. She sat in the chair beside my bed, the same chair she'd been crying in when I first woke up, and said something I'll never forget. She looked at me for a long time without speaking. Then she said, very quietly, "You were never really here with us." 7 words. That's all it took to collapse 41 years of marriage into a single, undeniable truth. 7 words that revealed what I'd spent 48 years refusing to see. I wanted to argue. I wanted to defend myself. I wanted to list all the ways I'd provided, all the sacrifices I'd made, all the security I'd created. But she was right. Devastatingly, undeniably right. I'd been physically present, but emotionally absent for decades. I'd shown up to life, but never really arrived. My body was at the dinner table, but my mind was at the office. I was in the room for conversations, but I wasn't actually listening. For 48 years, I'd been a ghost in my own life, haunting the edges of moments that mattered while pouring my energy into achievements that didn't. That conversation changed everything. Not immediately. I didn't have some Hollywood transformation where music swells and everything becomes clear. But slowly, over the following months, I started to see the pattern. The architecture of my entire life had been built on a foundation of sand. Here's what I need you to understand, especially if you're in your 20s, 30s, or 40s. You don't have time. I know you think you do. I thought I did too. At 25, 48 years seems like an eternity. At 35, you tell yourself you'll slow down after the next promotion. At 45, you promise yourself you'll reconnect with family once this big project is done. But here's the truth nobody tells you. There's never a natural stopping point. Success doesn't have a finish line. Achievement doesn't have a final level. The ladder keeps going up forever, and if you're climbing it, you'll climb until you physically can't climb anymore. That's what I did. I climbed for 48 years straight, and you know what I found at the top? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The view from the top of the wrong ladder is just a better view of the wrong landscape. I could see further than most people, further into my own emptiness, further into my own regret, further into the realization that I'd traded everything real for everything fake. Success is what you show strangers. Fulfillment is what you feel when you're alone. I had all the success. I had none of the fulfillment. I'm 73 now. If I'm lucky, maybe 10 more years. Maybe 15 if I'm blessed. Probably less. And every single one of those mornings is borrowed time that I almost didn't get after my heart tried to quit at 52. I wake up now and I think about my friend David. I think about his son saying, I barely knew him. I think about my own son and the years I can't get back. You still have time. That's the only reason I'm making this video. You still have time to change course. You still have time to choose differently. You still have time to stop climbing the wrong ladder before you get to the top and realize it was leaning against the wrong wall all along. But that time is more limited than you think. Listen, every video is a lesson that cost me decades to learn. If this touched your heart, hit the like button. It shows me these stories are helping someone. And subscribe here below to receive every new lesson. Don't wait until you're 73 to hear what you need to know at 33. Your regrets won't be about the things you did wrong. They'll be about the things you didn't do at all. I don't lie awake at night thinking about failed business deals or missed promotions. Those don't matter. You know what keeps me up? The trip to Japan I never took. The relationship with my brother that I let die. The 37 Sundays I could have called my father before he died. Sunday 38, he was gone. I'll carry that number for the rest of my life. The truth I learned at 52 came almost too late to matter. But you're hearing it now. You're hearing it while you still have time to act on it. 48 years taught me this. The things that look important from a distance, the titles, the money, the achievements become invisible when you're actually facing the end. What becomes visible are the moments, the conversations, the presence, the connection. Success is about winning. Life is about meaning. And meaning comes from presence, not achievement. From connection, not accumulation. From being there, not getting ahead. I spent 48 years getting ahead. At 73, I finally understand what being there actually means. You have a choice right now today. You can keep climbing the ladder everyone else is climbing. Keep chasing what society says matters. Keep postponing life for someday. Or you can decide that someday is today. That presence matters more than promotion. That connection matters more than corner offices. That 48 years from now, you don't want to be making a video like this, telling younger people about all the time you wasted. This truth took me decades to learn. If it can help someone else, share it. Next video is already loading for you. The clock is ticking. What are you going to do with your time?